Hi there, Glitch here. Thanks for tuning into my 8 mask Orgrimmar run. This was done week 2 of when the content was available, along with as many upgrades as you can get. So the tributes are full, and I have however many upgrades that I am allowed from the tree, the Visions tree. Now, I have seen some people actually select all the way down, like all 3 upgrades down from the left and middle tree, and not select the additional sanity on the right side of the tree. I didn't know that was a thing when I did it. I did this like early Tuesday, essentially when it was available on reset. I didn't realize that we were going to be allowed to do something like that. I didn't even realize we were going to get that extra talent point. So luckily I selected the reduction on sanity drain, which I think ends up playing a fair part here. But honestly, based on how much sanity I end up with and how many orbs I end up with, I'm not sure it was even needed. So, full disclosure, this run is full of cheese. It's full of weird routes, particularly one very weird segment that I will explain when we get to it. But also, in addition to that, it is not a balance run, nor is it technically a guardian run. This is a druid run. So, kind of a realization that I didn't make until just yesterday when at time of recording. You're not limited to a spec when you do these. You can change specs in the visions. I'm a druid. I know how to play guardian. I know how to play balance. Why not use both? And so that's exactly what I did. So for a lot of this run, I end up using guardian druid to do the big pulls, to do all the trash, to do any mobs that it's okay to not be super fast in because their sanity drain isn't too bad or whatnot. So I just go Guardian Druid for quite a bit of it. But then anything that's kind of dangerous or that I need to burst down, or any of the wing bosses, so to speak, the boss for each area, I swap into a Balance Druid and just blast it. And it works out perfectly. Bosses fall over within seconds because I'm running full single target burst, convoke, full single raid target. I'll put some links to talents here at the end of in the description if you want to know. But also on top of that, quite frankly, this is a lot easier than last week's Stormwind 5 mask. Like a lot easier, to the point where I was still kind of figuring out where I wanted to be, how I wanted to pull. I'm still trying out strats, still changing talents around, and I just kind of do it. I just kind of get it. That's why there's no pop-off at the end. Also, because the last pop-off was a little loud. Sorry about that. I heard from a few of you about that, so my bad. But yeah, so stick around and let's get through this. And yeah, I'll talk about what's going on as we go through. So just like Stormwind, gonna start out with a substantial stealth skip. I don't kill any of this trash. I will say I have in the past for gammon timing, and I'll explain that once he pops up first. But you can see it at the top, the Nemesis spawn. But I'll talk about that a little bit more later. So check out which potion is bad. Kind of just stealthing. Be careful as you enter this. There is a stealth mob on the right there. So I have to open on this guy with a stun. I really wish I had gotten the time dilation, the madness in this area that makes you go faster. But I don't. So I get impatient. I just go bare form and just blast this guy as quickly as possible. Get in the damage circle and get this buff. So this buff, I believe it's 10% damage. This buff is great. I always check the smith here for if this guy is up. If he's not up, the other mob is across the way in the inn. It's where Gammon's axe is, actually. And if you kill him, he gives you 10% max health. If you're a squishier class, or if you don't have access to the tank spec or something like that, it might not be a bad idea to go grab that. Personally, I never did. Even when I was doing this as just balance. I'm sure it would have helped. But I don't know, it just feels like the amount of time it takes to go over there, cross, plus you get exposed to more trash, you might pull, there's a couple of stealth-site mobs here and there. I don't know, a bit of a hassle. So I opted not to do it. For this run, I actually get the 2 buffs that I wanted, which is this and Buemba, which you'll see in a little bit. So a little bit of luck there. But I don't think it's necessary. Again, with the amount of time that I had and with the amount of... I felt really safe most of the run. So maybe unnecessary. But it ends up working out here for me to pick this up. So I'm still stealthing through a bunch of mobs. If you're not used to the Mask of Multitudes, This pack up the ramp. This pack is not here, but if you got stealth, doesn't matter. Literally, they're blind, dude. They they can't see you. You can just walk by. So you open the gate here. Grab these shadow dudes. I forgot their name. And then grab this elite. This elite, he charges around a lot. He's kind of obnoxious. I prefer to have him up to a wall so that he doesn't charge as far. I don't do a great job of it here, but he doesn't go too crazy. I will say, be very careful with this stupid decimator bolt. You see that thing right there? So that can actually hit you even if it's within his hitbox, and you know, if he's quote unquote done with the attack. It's got a really weird hitbox. Just try and stay the heck away from it. I get lucky on one of these here. But yeah, so he's dead. And you're going to see me actually headed to the lost area here where Gayara is. But I'm actually just going in here and killing this mob, and then I'm going to walk out. There's two very specific reasons for that, right? One of them is Nemesis spawn. Again, I'll talk about that in a minute. And then the other one is a very, very tiny optimization, right? So if you leave that area, Gayara actually continues and starts fighting mobs of her own accord in there. Now, she's not going to deal a bunch of damage. Honestly, it's not even like super efficient. Like, I don't think this is a make or break tactic, but I did notice that every so often she will engage mobs. There's one particular pack that has 3 of the dominators, the guys that cast Touch of Madness, on you. And that cast is like a channel that stuns you. That pack gives me so much trouble. But if she happens to engage with it, they all group up on her. And so that makes it so much simpler because those dudes are spread out. I don't believe I get that on this run, but, you know, it takes a couple of seconds. I felt comfortable with Sanity, so I end up doing it, even if it doesn't work out. Yeah, so let's continue. So I turn around, and I'm going to finish up this wing first. So not a ton of danger here as bear form. I just kind of pull willy-nilly, just pull all these packs. I know I'm going to have to pull the guys on the bridge to get that totem, so I do, and I see Bwemba, so I head over to Bwemba. So this is the second buff. Again, this is like best case scenario. I have the buff from the Smith, and then I'm going to have Bwemba's buff here, which is haste and movement speed. Lovely, beautiful movement speed. You want to go fast in these instances, in these visions, so, you know, sign me up. Got to go fast, you know what I'm saying? So gather this up. Again, you're not in terrible danger. You see some mental assaults going off in the distance. You can actually range those. But the close ones, just interrupt them. Just interrupt the Twisted Lightning. She can't actually put you in a frog because you're a Druid. Okay. So whatever. Kill these guys off. You got to do these totems in sequence. So optimization there would have been to move towards this first totem as the pack was dying. Again, I still wasn't, you know, super refined on this, but whatever. Looking around for potions, don't see anything that interests me. And so here is an important moment. So if you look at the top of my screen and you see Nemesis spawn 3, and you see these 4 ads. So this is a super safe pack. This pack is very, very small amount of danger. But I'm going to spawn Gammon here. Now, this is just kind of a residue, if you will, a leftover from when I was doing this just as balance. It was convenient to spawn Gammon here. As you'll see, right? Because this, like I said, this pack's not dangerous. And I want to have Gammon so that he doesn't have his stun up, right? So there he is. So that's Gammon. This is why I went into that one mob in the Lost area. Now, admittedly, between Dark Imagination and sometimes there's like other things that spawn mobs, like Bwemba is sometimes not there, so that throws off count. So you don't actually always need to do that, but I just got used to doing it because I want Gammon here. Right? So if you don't know why Gammon is here, by the way, that's the Nemesis mask, and that's you get it by getting the shard from Hogger in Stormwind and the shard from Gammon here in Orgrimmar. And so this guy will spawn every 25 kills, and he is not that dangerous. He whirlwinds, right? And then here's the real danger. He will try to. Let me see if I can catch it. I might have already missed it. No, I think he actually nails me here with it because I think I walked away from him too early. Yeah, there it is. So he will war stomp you. So the whole reason that I was doing the spawn over there, I guess I failed it on this one, but, you know, oh well. The whole reason I was doing it over there is you can actually bait that stomp. So after every, I believe it's 2 whirlwinds, there's a timer out there, but I didn't get around to getting it for this. But I believe every 2 or 3 whirlwinds, he will war stomp you for a couple of seconds. That stomp is very dangerous in some areas. It has gotten me killed just because you get War Stomped into a Tentacle Knockup, into a Fear from one of your Madnesses, into a Stun from one of those casters that channeled on you, and it all just goes downhill from there. So I was trying to get Gammon to, I was trying to bait his stun so that it wouldn't hit me and I wouldn't have to worry about it. I end up not doing it, but it's not the worst thing here. Again, this was kind of just a leftover from when I was doing this as balance. So he stuns me, not a big deal. Just getting rid of this pack here. And again, I'm not too threatened by this pack.
Keep jumping.
And I definitely don't want Gammon to proc in the next pack, which is, although not terribly dangerous, there's just a lot more casters, and so that scares me a little more. So I pull here more. This Twisted Shaman, or excuse me, Voidbound Shaman, casting Twisted Lightning. Always focus those guys down. It's not so much the lightning. I mean, it hurts, but it's not the worst thing. But the big one here is they drop that stupid totem that grips you in and starts casting ever whatever hunger. I don't know. That totem is a pain in the rear. It yanks you around. It disorients you. No thanks. Just focus these guys down before they have a chance to drop it. But anyway, so you pull this back. The patrol is in a good spot here, so I end up pulling. I think you have to pull these guys anyways when you do the totem. Maybe there's a pixel perfect spot where you don't have to. I didn't take the time to figure it out. Just blast them. Again, I'm doing this as Guardian. I'm not afraid of dying. I have okay to great AoE, so whatever, right? And so here is a stealth part. You can actually, these mobs on the left, you can stealth past them. I know they have stealth sight. You're just far enough. You used to actually be able to go through the back of this building. They put 2 of those same Void Lord looking guys back there that have stealth sight. I have no idea if you could do it back there. It really does not matter because you can do it here. So you just stealth right past him. This blob, sometimes you get unlucky and he sees you. But other times it's fine. I mean, and the boss is stealth sight too. So if you need some prep time, like I'm going to need here in a moment, then just hop up on these stairs and just walk over here. And there you go. And you see me literally switching specs. And I go balance. So this is, again, I don't know why this didn't occur to me in the Stormwind portion if you saw last week's video. But yeah, I literally just switched specs. And this balance, unlike the last spec that I showed for Stormwind, the last talent trees, that talent tree was very focused on dots, on kiting, on like Starfall, on AoE, because I was doing a lot of running around and letting things kind of die off behind me. This is not. This is pure, full blast, single target damage. It's got Convoke. It's got, Orbit Breaker. It's got, like, the Treants, right? Because Keeper of the Grove is pretty good for that type of thing, for blasting, like, single target. And, I mean, you're going to see it here. I'm just going to queue up those 2 Wraths to get me into Eclipse, dot them up, trees, pop cooldowns, Convoke, and then here comes the Hopelessness Orb. He does cast it, but he died to literally spells that were midair. This dude got annihilated. And I really recommend you try this. Because that's Boomkin has great burst in that opener with Convoke. And that really, really helps to sort of shore up the weakness that Guardian has, which is single target. Well, if your boss is dying that quickly, and in particular for later on, you're going to see it being, quite a factor for Rexxar. If you've done this with any amount of masks, Rexxar is a bit of a terror. That dude's crazy. But yeah, it ends up working great. This dude got completely annihilated. He got 1 hopelessness cast, and it barely didn't even affect me, right? Because he died before it even mattered. So he gets blasted. I just keep going. And so now that I've done that wing, I'm actually going to go over into the lost area in the back, which I believe is Valley of Wisdom. I can never remember. You'd think a Horde main for so long I'd remember, but you see me fiddling around with my trinkets here. Again, this is just me trying to sort of figure stuff out because I'm not done sciencing things, but it ends up not mattering. So I swap back to tank form, to Guardian, and then there you see Gayara. She's engaged with not a good pack. I mean, they got some damage on them, right? That's nice, I guess, but it's not the main deal. Ideally, the pack you wanted to engage with is to the right, just off screen. Not the one near the bridge, but the one next to that totem. If you've done this with any masks and you've picked up some of those black bars for your dual crafting mount, then you know what pack I'm talking about. You'll see them here soon. But yeah, so unfortunate. It's fine. Not a big deal. Just aggro them. I know my Gammon is due soon, but I noticed that he's not actually gonna, unless I get a Dark Imagination mask dude here, he's actually not gonna proc. So, you know, I'm Guardian. I got cooldowns. I'm not scared. I'm just gonna get in there, right? And that's exactly what I do. Just dodge stuff, you know. Again, not terribly scared. If you have any semblance of Guardian Druid, you'll be fine here. So there's Gammon. He gets me with the War Stomp. I take a Sanity Ping because I got disoriented by the split personality. It happens. It's not a big deal. Try not to get feared. I don't want to engage this next guy on accident. That I am being careful of here. He's whirlwinding. Again, not crazy damage. I know the split's about to spawn, so I stop moving. Get ready for it. Gammon's dead. Clean up these ads. Yeah, this stupid tentacle kind of delays a little bit. I hate these things. They take so long. So clean that up. And so now I am once again swapping. The reason I swap for balance for this guy is this guy has a sanity ping that is nigh unavoidable. I know I've been able to avoid it before. I don't actually know how. But it doesn't matter. I don't want to get hit. So I go balance. I turn on the laser beam, you know, turn on the death cannon, convoke. Then he's dead. He just fell over, you know. You can't beat that. Always this area in you know where the AH is in normal Orgrimmar. There's a lot of potion spawns here. Just check around for stuff, and sure enough, I find a sanity potion in here. It actually kind of goes a little bit to waste. I didn't even need 100 sanity, but I'm not coming back this way, so I might as well grab it now. Once again, going back to tank form, you could make the argument that these spec switches take too much time. I would not make that argument. You'll see why here soon. But yeah, so this pack here, not terribly dangerous. Make sure you're focused down. This stupid Dominator again. That cast, Touch of the Abyss. I think I said Touch of Madness earlier. That was the incorrect name. But don't worry about it. You know what I'm talking about. That channel, that will stun you. It's terrible. It's so terrible. I don't know why I paused there, but let's keep it going. And so this pack to the right, this is the pack. So I'm waiting for my, there it is, for my split personalities to go out, and then I'm going to walk into this pack. I'm not sure if I get a good, okay, so there's more or less a good angle here. So you can see there are 3 of these darn casters, and they're in terrible positions. Now, I haven't gotten a complete hold on this, but for some reason, this pack, if you pull it from far away, it seems to prefer them casting, which makes them immobile. But if you walk into the pack, they will walk at you. That is fantastic positioning right there. This is all within one yell, and boom, there it is. I in-cap roar them to stop that stupid cast, and then they die. They're all sitting in a moonbeam as well, so it helps the damage. That pack has cost me so many issues. But the positioning there helped quite a bit. So I recommend if you're having issues with that pack, and you're trying to do this as Guardian or as this sort of hybrid, I would recommend maybe trying to walk in there and try and walk in there safely. I had so many issues with that pack, just pulling arbitrarily. I don't know what was doing it. I don't know if Gayara was charging off randomly. And when Gayara aggroes stuff and you're nearby, they treat it as you're in the pack and they're going to target you. They don't do nearly anything to her. So she's actually a bit of an inconvenience there. It's not like Valera and Stormwind, who stuns and is very useful. In that sense, I don't know what was pulling them on accident. I tried different trinkets in this area, or just in general. Maybe one of those was pulling somehow, like the Thug hotline from Muggsy. Maybe that was pulling. I'm not sure. But anyways, we got through that pack, and we spawned Gammon through it. And so I'm pulling Gammon into this pack here, and kind of just trying to mulch him. He's a little bit behind. I was worried about that because he was, again, attacking Gayara. Not useful, but whatever. So here I'm kind of waiting for 2 things. I'm waiting for him to catch up, and I'm waiting for the split personalities to kind of get myself in a weird spot here. Not trying to take too much sanity damage, but it is what it is. And so once those split personalities go out, then I engage this guy. This guy is tricky. This dude has very quick casts.
Watch your step.
So you gotta watch out for that one, and this dangerous next one, the Visceral Fluid. That is almost instant. You need to be moving before the cast has spawned. If you're not, you're going to get hit. Same thing with that one, pretty much. And so the reason I try to wait for split personalities to go before I engage them is so I don't get in a bad overlap. But not too bad. And once again, you see me here. Well, I get baited by a circle. Whoops, didn't get to swap. That's okay. Change specs again. And so here I'm going to engage the boss. And again, just turn on the death laser, you know what I'm saying? Trees, dots, cooldown, start blasting. There goes the, don't get hit by the defiled ground. There goes the convoke. There is it's just too much. It's just too much. They can't handle even an 8 mask. Just perfect. That's exactly what I want. Unfortunately, these little guys spawned. We got to take care of them. And you'll notice I'm not walking to the entrance. We're going for a ride, ladies and gentlemen. So, if you don't know, they opened up this area when they did the Revisited Visions. This was not an area that you could go up to in the past. And so there's actually now a path up here that opens up. I believe you need 2 masks to be able to see this. Obviously, we're at 8. And this only happens after you're done with this area, right? So why would you come up here? Well, I might as well let this run while I wait for the elevator. Again, this seems a little sketchy because I know I'm wasting time in a lost area. By the way, those zones, I feel like I should have not have gotten disoriented there, but whatever. Besides the point. It seems a little sketchy, you're wasting, quote-unquote wasting, a fair amount of sanity here, right? But as you go up here, you will notice, and I'll pause it once it comes up, but you will notice that you are technically in the initial area. So you're going to jump down here, right? And so right there, boom. Well, my talent tree is, I'm going to let it play out. Okay, there we go. My talent tree was covering it, but if you notice at the top, I have these desynchronized and promised power madnesses, which means I'm in the first area. And if you'll notice at my sanity bar, it's draining at 1. I think it might even be less than 1 a second. So the drain here is very, very low. Now, the reason you come up here normally is because those wyverns over there, those void-scarred cubs, it's actually a little bit of a secret. So if you kill them all, and there's a couple of waves of them, they actually drop a mount. So if you didn't know that, come in here with, I think 2, it could be 1, but a couple of masks, come up here, and then kill this wyvern, and get your mount, and okay, cool, whatever. But here's the thing. That guy that drops the mount, he is an elite. And if you saw my Stormwind 5 mask run, you know that I stopped to kill Hogger because he's an easy elite, and I want that sanity. And I want that sanity here too. And I know what you might be thinking. You've done 2 areas, and you still have 3 orbs. You're very good on sanity. Well, yes and no. I'll get to why here in a moment. But there are 2 reasons, like I said, right? The sanity gained from this elite is one of them. And then also, and I'm going to start letting this play out. Also on top of that, I am at 9 mobs from Nemesis spawn. So this means that this dude, Gammon, is about to spawn. I don't want him to spawn in the next area at all because that makes it way too crazy for me. So I'm spawning him here. So this is kind of a double benefit. Very low sanity drain area. There's Gammon. Perfect. I want him to be spawned here, so I'm going to kill him. And then when the wyvern spawns, I'm also going to kill it. Again, I didn't really get to figure out 100% if this was time efficient or not, but certainly it is for spawning Gammon and making sure he's not going to bother me in the most difficult moment of this run. I don't want him. His stun would make things a lot worse. It's a lot more to worry about. There's a fair amount of damage going on in this next portion too. So I get there, and it's basically a full sanity bar. Now, a sane person here would chalk that up as a win and drop off the left side of this cliff, walk to the entrance, and walk over back through the middle towards the next 2 areas, towards the drag. But I am not a sane person. So we are going to attempt, and as it turns out, succeed on probably the weirdest skip you've ever seen for one of these things. So letting me up here was a mistake, Blizz, sorry to say. But hey, it is what it is. You let the chicken brain figure out chicken brain things, and he's going to do chicken brain things. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to get up on this bridge, and we are going to, in sequence, right? I'm getting kind of positioned here. Wild Charge, Potion of Gusts. And so this lets us get up on the bluffs here. Now, this area is tricky. It's not exactly all safe to walk around, as you'll see very soon here. There's actually a wall right next to those 2 trees, but It's to the right of the trees, not the left of the trees. So I'm past a wall right now. Obviously, you can't see it; it's invisible. But if you run around, you hit a wall. But for whatever reason, there's a hole in that wall. Oops, shouldn't have left it there. And here I am. And so now I'm walking around up here in these bluffs. And you hug this rock. I don't want to be down there just yet. I want to be over here. Now, right there, you see that I now have that red eye debuff on my debuffs up there. Right, that is the debuff that you get when you walk outside of any horrific vision areas. This is Blizzard trying to stop you from going areas where you're not supposed to. Now, they are supposed to have added a slow to this. If you walk outside in any other area, particularly the areas that are near to the your regular pathways, it slows you down considerably, and it also just starts draining your health like crazy. It's meant to kill you. For whatever reason, the slow is not present here until a little bit further out, and you'll see here in a moment. And so you can just keep going. So, essentially it lets you survive a little bit farther, right? And so I'll talk about it here beforehand because it's a very quick succession. So you're going to see me walk up there until about halfway. The slow will kick in. When the slow kicks in, my wild charge, which you can barely see it, but it's about to be off cooldown, right? But it isn't just yet. So when the slow kicks in, I'm going to jump, wild charge, and then mid wild charge, for whatever reason, the wild charge isn't affected by the slow. Thank God. If it wasn't, I don't think you could do this skip. And then mid wild charge, I'm actually going to glider kit, and you'll see where I end up. So let's see that play out. So no slow yet. Boom, there's the slow. Wild charge, glider kit, and below us is Rexxar's area. So you'll see to the right, that's like those big bugs with that elite at the bottom of the ramp, and I'm flying over the auction house right now. And again, the glider kit is not slowed, and you just hover over here and land safely next to Rexxar's hut. This is essentially an entire area skip for the most part. I still end up doing this pack that I'm staring at, just to be able to use a skip back to the main zone after I kill Rexxar. But I mean, what else? You don't do anything else in this area pretty much, and that's pretty great. So this pack that you unfortunately have to kill, these little bugs, I'm told they are bugged. Haha. They have an error. Let's put it that way. I don't know if that's true or not, but they're not supposed to stun you as much as they are, and they do. This pack is gnarly as a result. This is why I go get that sanity boon, the two elites that I kill up top, aside from it being convenient gammon timing. And it's also to prevent gammon from spawning here or in Rexxar, and you'll see why. But I get mauled. I don't have any other ways to put it. I get mauled in this pack. This pack is crazy. Also, one of the ads, for some reason, is like partway into the death zone, the zone where you get drained and slowed. I don't know why that is. I don't know. This pack is just crazy to me. So I get in there. I pop some cooldowns, just like I'm fighting. And then there's the stun. I could have cleansed it. I wasn't quick enough. Look at the guy casting back there. That's just misplay. I shouldn't have gotten disoriented there, but whatever. Take some sanity pings. Look at where this guy is. Like, this is crazy. Get stunned again. I probably should have cleansed. Got really lucky with that fear. You can get feared into that zone where he is. That's not a good thing. But then clean up the pack. And so that very short amount of time, I'm pretty sure I took like 200 sanity loss, something like that. Something crazy. So that pack is nuts. You want as much sanity as possible for that, and you want to, blitz that pack. So trying to change specs here for Rexxar. Get baited again by the fear. Whoops. That's okay. So now I'm actually kind of buying time because I need, I thought I needed cooldowns, right? So I grab this potion, scope out that there's a sanity potion over there. Consider grabbing it, and then I'm like, no, I know what I need to do here. And so I'm actually going to spawn an orb for Rexxar. Rexxar, this boss is nuts. I don't know what other classes are doing here or what other specs are doing here, but I know what I did here, and what I did here was literally pop an orb, pop every cooldown. I even considered bloodlusting this, and I probably should have because I end up using it poorly on Thrall, as you'll see. And then just blitz him, literally just blitz him. Like, I don't know, if you have enough interrupts or, once he gets into 2-boar territory, oh man, it's so tough, so tough. So yeah, I literally drop an orb here. I probably should have waited more. That fear, it's so obnoxious. Probably should have waited more, but I engage him, get dots on him, put trees. I actually put an Ursol's over there. You see it in the back in front of Huffer. Huffer is, to my understanding, always the first one. that he spawns. Now, again, at time of recording, I was still kind of saying stuff. My hope was that putting that Ursol's there would do two things. It would stop Huffer from charging at me and knocking me back. It doesn't, which complicates things. And that it would stop the first cast. It doesn't. So I actually kind of put myself in a worse spot here without realizing it. But it ends up working to my benefit because it lets Convoke focus on Rexxar instead of wasting casts on him. So you see that this goes to you know where really quickly. This goes really poorly, really quickly. But thankfully, I'm able to, again, just bounce Druid Burst, man. So we're just spam casting. We Convoke. Here comes Huffer. Bonk. He gets Ursula. He's even further out than I want him. So at this point, I'm like, uh-oh, this is bad. I take a ton of sanity damage, and then he dies. If that fight had gone any further, I probably would have died. It needed to end as quickly as it started, like that. But it works out in my favor. There's probably some refinements you can do there. It only occurred to me at some point later that you could probably like use some more CC on the boars. Like I bet, I don't know that I recommend this, but maybe Cyclone or Hibernate works on him, you know. But no, Rexxar is crazy. You need to kill him as soon as possible. I would even say if you are struggling on that, try bloodlusting him. He's nuts. Just get rid of him. He is so many of my runs I've reset on Rexxar because I died on Rexxar or that pack right before him. As a result, some of these next pulls you're actually going to see a little bit less practiced on. I'm a little bit more indecisive because I'm not used to being at this point, right? So you're going to see that here. For example, I forget to change specs here back to Guardian. Whoops, you know. I think I also tab out for something real quick here, so my apologies for the lack of audio and the the standing still of this portion. But this should give you an idea of just how much sanity you have with this route that I'm doing. That was my first orb use on Rexxar. I have one wing left. Like, that's crazy. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out kind of how to approach this because I've forgotten to change specs. I decided to just camp here and just trees these guys and just blitz them here just to get them out of the way now, you know. So kill them, change specs. If you were keen-eyed, you saw that I was also still using Burn. I didn't mean to. I just forgot to change it. I was using Burn of the Candle King for last week's run and just forgot that I didn't feel like I needed here, and I forgot to switch it out. So yeah, stealth through this. There are a couple of stealth site mobs here and there, but you can avoid them here. Unfortunately, they put this pack here. You can actually open this door without pulling the patrol or anything like that, but since this back is here, you gotta kill him. Like I said, a little less practiced here. Gammon timings are a little bit up in the air. I get hit by that stun and his. Try to avoid that, but you know. So while I'm killing Gammon, unfortunately, again, since I'm less practiced on this, the patrol pulls and I get hit by a shockwave. Again, I'm just not super used to this area. I haven't gotten too many runs up to this because I get killed at Rexxar. So I'm making mistakes, but it still works out, right? Open the door. You can stealth this, which is great. It ends up not mattering, as you'll see in a moment. Whatever. So this dude, I really hate. I don't know why they give these zones to this guy and the blood spewing guy, the visceral fluid guy in the lost area that we did earlier. Those zones are almost instant. Like, I don't get hit here, but you saw how quickly that first circle it just lands and you get hit. If you're not quick on your feet, you just get tapped. I don't like that. Look at this. So, boom, they'd already exploded. Like, somehow I pull these guys. Just get them in there. It's probably more efficient anyways to pull more trash like this. What I don't mean to pull, as you'll see in a moment, the guy's behind me. So that's an accidental pull. I think I'm just closer than I thought I was. I mean, it is what it is. But it's okay. It ends up not mattering. Don't forget to talk to Garona. God, do I forget to talk to Garona. Sometimes. Very obnoxious. I don't know why I checked that room in there. I know I have 2 buffs, so I know if that buff is not there, but whatever. Gammon spawns. Again, not a big deal. Pull here. Look for the caster. Blitz him, the Dominator. Yeah, interrupt that. Touch of the Abyss. You don't want that to cast. Gammon falls over. Well, in a moment. And look at my sanity. It's just perfect. You could probably pull more aggressively than I am here. Again, I'm not super practiced in this area, so I don't know what I can get away with. Hey, look, it's Gammon. Again. So last video I mentioned trying to kind of overlap your objectives. It's a little bit difficult with Gammon and a little bit difficult with how much combat you have to do in this area. But try and get away with it when you can. Like I try and bait a whirlwind here, and then try and get the objective. It kind of works out, mainly because he hopped away, but you know, that's alright. So pull these guys. There's casters on the side here that do that stupid touch of the abyss. Focus them down. Get some dots on them. There's the touch. Roar to interrupt it. Kill them both. Get them out of here.
Keep jumping.
God, those guys are annoying. So here I'm just, you know, cleaning up the trash, opening up the objectives that I have to. I vaguely remember there being a way to skip one of these, but I didn't even get a chance to figure it out before it was over. So that right there, you saw me right-click one of my buffs, and I'm vomiting because I'm stunned. That's one of those mysterious potions that I drank. I believe it was the defensive one, and I unclick it because it is about to run out, and I do not want to get stunned during this boss in particular. During any boss, really, but this boss in particular. Always keep an eye out for that type of thing. If you get this weak aura, it'll make that tinging sound that lets you know if one of your buffs is about to run out. Highly recommend you just assess what you're doing. Maybe think about right-clicking it yourself and just getting rid of it, because a stun here, where you're just taking a little bit of sanity drain, is way better than, for example, getting stunned during Void Torrent on this boss. That will be disastrous because he will just kill you. So I, you know, take it off, and then again change specs. Druid, Druid for the win. You know what I'm saying? If you can't do this, then I apologize for you. Actually, while seeing this recording, I just noticed there's a purple pot over there. Oh well, I could have grabbed it. Oops. So yeah, this guy, I save my Convoke until he does his shield, and there he goes, and so I Convoke. And he actually buffers the next shield cast. Usually he does too. So he torrents instead. That's lucky for me, and he just dies. I don't know what happens here. You're about to see it. This is weird. I try to use the shortcut totem, and I think Scorched Feet procs, and so I end up doing this. Whatever that is. So it just doesn't let me go back. I don't know why. I thought something was wrong. I thought this was my own hubris for the skip. Nope. It was just something weird. Whatever. Spinning around because I know I'm close. You know how it is. Looking at the eyeball. Staring him down. And then it's Thrall time. Now, I actually end up wasting some time here because I want all of my cooldowns. I probably could have gone away without it. But I want Convoke back. So I end up just sitting here for a minute. But again, that goes to show you I'm at Thrall with 2 orbs, full sanity, and I sit here and wait for a whole minute, you know, pretty much. And let me tell you, I don't play Thrall perfectly, far from it, because I don't have too many pulls on him, and I still am able to do it. So this route is crazy. I think that skip just gives you so much time. Probably unnecessary once all the upgrades come out. Maybe even unnecessary for this, right? Because other people have done it without it. But it worked out for me. It gave me a lot more breathing room. And so yeah, I'm about to pull Thrall here. This fight goes terribly. I end up orbing midway out of absolute panic. But yeah, so here we go. So I'm getting ready to pull here. Take out the Wraths. Trees. Beam.
Frontal.
Here comes the frontal. Now, if between me and you guys, I feel like I shouldn't have gotten hit by that. I feel like that frontal shouldn't have gone anywhere near. But again, I have so much sanity that it's unfortunate. And if I hadn't gotten hit, it might not even have looked as dire as it does. But I get tagged by that and I get stunned. Try to avoid that, obviously. Right? But here, so I'm thinking that GG. You know, I somehow works out in my favor. Realize I'm standing in the Surging Darkness in the middle while charge out. Try and bait a defile around. And so then he spawns the Hopeless Orb. I grab it. And here, so right there, I'm like, I got stunned. I know he has that circle coming soon. Or excuse me, the shield. So I gotta do something. So I end up orbing just now. I haven't even used all my cooldowns super efficiently. It is what it is, and I'm also trying to prepare. So for a very long time in this fight, I'm trying to prepare for his shield that's coming up. I end up doing that a little bit too long for the next one, but so I end up orbing here, just standing there for sanity. Obviously, don't get hit by the Defile Ground, and there's Cries of the Void. I believe this goes out for just a bit of sanity.
Watch your step.
Yeah, so I end up taking some sanity damage there,
Gruntle.
but not like the worst. Dodge at defile ground. I really hate how much like tables and stuff there are in this room. I feel like you get stuck on stuff trying to run away. But yeah, that happens to me a couple other times. So at this point, I'm actually trying to save as much astral power as I can for another shield that I think is coming. And I don't realize that he's just not casting it, so I'm just kind of awkwardly,
Watch your step.
kind of just waiting around. Another Surging Darkness, get the outer pattern first, and so at some point, I just go, whatever. Just like, whatever, I'm tired of waiting. And so I pop CA, and I just use the rest of my cooldowns, and just hope that he doesn't do Cries of the Anguished. And there it is. He gets blasted. I had a whole other orb. I mean, that's that. No pop-off. Little loud last time. And there's the, well, you could see Mask Septet first there, because I hadn't done a 7 mask just yet. But there it is. Orchestra of Masks. Dramatic zoom in to a dancing moonkin. Because I'm one for the dramatic. But yeah, I think I open up my, I do. I open up my character sheet. There's some of the same stuff. Burn, rings. I haven't really upgraded much of anything, if anything. I don't think you need burn for this one because you are using Guardian so much. So I should have just opted for a damage trinket for sure. But if you feel like, again, like I mentioned last video, if you feel like you need it for a little bit more survivability, it's an option. It might not matter next week going forwards for solo runs. I think I also open up my talent tree here. Yeah, I do. And so again, this is just single target with a couple of changes. Like the trees have the taunt node, right? And yeah, so that was the 8 mask run for Orgrimmar. Nowhere near as challenging, I feel like, as Stormwind was 5 masks last week with less upgrades. And I feel like 8 mask Stormwind is going to be far easier than the first week and maybe easier than this. I don't suspect you'll have to do as many weird tricks as I've done on both of these runs going forward. I feel like this is very doable from this point. And if you're struggling, if you're a druid and you're struggling to do this as Guardian or Balance, and you have if you have, let's say, best in slots, heroic best in slots, the mace from One Arm Bandit, which kind of flexes as both, something like, or just if you can get your hand on a weapon or something along those lines, try and do this kind of hybrid spec run. This made things so much easier, because the thing that I was struggling with Guardian was single target, and the thing that I was struggling with as Balance was just dying, was just damage, and they solve each other's problems. I mean, you're a druid, right? You should. This is what you do, is straddle the line between all the specs, right? So give it a try. And so on that note, thanks for watching. I'll try and put some spec trees import codes in the description. But again, a lot of this was I was still tinkering with it by the time that I was able to get this. So I don't think it's super relevant, but I'll put them there if you want to just emulate. I have maybe like a starting point to try your own stuff. And then, I guess since I don't talk about it as much, like I mentioned last video, my Guardian gear, it's not that impressive. I do have a heroic best in slots in the Agi mode, right? But my balance gear is far better. And I don't have like any crazy trinkets, like I don't have the mud trinket from Mythics. I don't have that. So honestly, just whatever you got, just give it a try and see if it works for you. And yeah, so thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, once again, kind of long commentary. Hope you found some useful information or some entertainment. And I'll see you for the next one. Peace.